Here we are, the 2023 IBJJF GI Worlds recap. So each and every year around June, there is an annual pilgrimage of Brazilian tourist visas that make their way all the way to Southern California. Of course, they make this pilgrimage each and every year to find a suitable Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt female mate for the season until they return home to Brazil to see their wives and families. So the IBJJF is an event I really wouldn't want to be a part of myself. IBJJF, of course, meaning International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. However, the only people that compete in it, work for it, or spectate it are Brazilians. And I, of course, would not be a part of an event with such an incredible lack of diversity. And this video is really a reason for me to help promote the Transnational Mexican Karate Federation that we are bringing out as of 2025. I would argue that it's actually a fake world championship just due to the lack of diversity. In the modern world, we do not want to be a part of anything with a lack of diversity. I would argue events such as the NAGA World Championships have a broader range of diversity in their finals matches. At this recent IBJJF Worlds, there was not a single non-Brazilian in the male adult finals. You need to qualify to enter the IBJJF GI World Championship, so you need to enter other IBJJF events to qualify to get enough points on the board to be able to compete in this GI World Championships in California. However, 99% of the events are in the United States or Brazil, which makes it almost impossible for Aussies, Kiwis, Europeans to be able to compete in the GI World Championships. I would argue that we should limit the amount of Brazilians we allow in this event. Obviously, United States immigration does do their helping hand in that by denying many visas, but I would argue that that's definitely not enough. We need to deny more visas to help increase the likelihood that we can have some of our own representation in these finals matches. Every single judge, referee, and female mat marshal with a big ass is directly from Brazil. And I would argue that each time a gringo goes out to compete, it is essentially a 4 versus 1 match. Obviously our opponent, the judge, the referee, and the mat marshal, they're all against us here. And it makes it very difficult for us to be able to win a match when it's 4 versus 1. So again, another point that I think makes this a fake World Championships, and again, pointing to the fact that I believe the NAGA World Championships is the highest ranking GI event in the world. I think it's really big of the IBJJF to put their event during Pride Month, and I think there's nothing more prideful than wearing the pajamas, and I would say it's a strong demonstration of the lack of homophobia in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Brazilian athletes as a whole. Each and every year, there are 3,332 IBJJF World Champions crowned, and that's not to say that they should be valued any less. Each and every one of those world titles goes towards an incredible marketing campaign towards a small gym ran by a Brazilian in a city of America that no one's ever heard of. There's no better marketing routine to grow your business than winning an IBJJF Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world title. The IBJJF does something incredible. This is an incredible business model because if you think, like, if I were to compete for Polaris, who's number one, if I were to compete for a UFC Fight Pass event, not only would they pay for my flight, pay for my accommodation, pay me a purse, and sometimes even a win bonus to go compete, the IBJJF has managed to do something truly unique. You pay your own way to the event, no matter how far you have to travel. You pay for your own hotel, and you pay registration fees, and it doesn't stop there because you have to pay a black belt membership too. And again, your coach too, he can't even corner you unless he himself pays his black belt membership card. So in terms of a business model, this is one of the most incredible things we've ever seen in sports, this pay-to-play model, and it's something we could all aspire to replicate in our own businesses. They make you do this course, they make you do a background check because most of the time there are a lot of creeps in this sport and they're trying to do their best to keep them out of these events, which is of course why I am not allowed to coach any of my guys at the IBJJF World Championships. Obviously, what happened with me was a miscommunication, things got greatly exaggerated, but despite that, I am no longer allowed to corner any of my athletes at the GI World Championships. Guys, we'll talk about some of the matches. We'll talk about Jansen Gomez, who was able to win the, lightweight title. He was able to beat Tainan, who was on a 60-match win streak. Jansen was on the other team of the Who's Next reality show with Tim Spriggs. Unfortunately for him, he was being coached by Tim Spriggs. But you can see since that coaching stint has ended, his career has absolutely skyrocketed. Obviously on the show, he lost to one of our guys, Isaac, but since then, again, without the guidance of Tim Spriggs, you've seen his career's really taken off here. But yeah, Jansen was able to beat Tainan. He was able to win by 2 advantages. Although we criticize these matches where people win by an advantage or maybe 2 advantages, this was really exciting, especially in the context of Tainan being on a 60-match win streak, which is obviously incredible. I think Tainan's 60-match win streak is one of the most impressive in the sport because he competes consistently under the same rule set. He doesn't get the luxury of picking the rule set. He competes. He doesn't get to favor the rule set to how he would like to compete against a certain opponent. He has the same IBJJF rule set where he has to find essentially a way to not be defeated under that rule set. I think anyone that competes consistently under the same rule set, eventually someone's going to find a way to exploit it and exploit their weaknesses and beat them. And in this match, Jansen was able to score a couple of quick advantages, had a really, really close back take attempt. And then he was able to use sort of a single leg pants grip to shut down almost all of Tainan's sweeping ability. And it was probably the most exciting match of the day because everyone in the crowd, and it sucks for Tainan, everyone wanted Jansen to win, but that just happens when you are the favorite, you are overwhelming favorite, and you're facing off against an underdog. Again, in this situation, I wouldn't imagine it to be anything personal, even though some people do have a problem with AOJ. Not quite sure why, but yeah, the whole crowd was on Jansen's side. It was really intense to watch live. But yeah, shout out to Jansen Gomez. That's incredible. I believe he's super young, only 20, 21, 22. So for him to take out the world title at such a young age, super, super impressive. And I hope we see a rematch soon. Another impressive performance, Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo is the first guy to win his match final and the absolute final via submission. I think the first since 2009, since Roger Gracie. So I think this firmly puts him as pound for pound #1 in the gi division. Victor Hugo's got some of the craziest guard work for such like a big, bulky guy. I hope we see him face off against Mr. Authenticity has a price, Nicholas Marigali, who was absent at the event on the weekend, but has called out Victor Hugo for a match. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, impressive performance by Victor Hugo to take out both weight and absolute final with submissions again. I believe the first since Roger Gracie. Speaking more about Victor Hugo and Marigali, I believe the score in their matches is 3-1 favoring Marigali, but I don't believe Marigali has ever been able to submit Victor Hugo. So obviously when those guys have their ultimate rematch here, it'll be interesting to see if he can pull that off and beat arguably the pound for pound #1 right now, Victor Hugo. Listen guys, I'll be honest, I'm winging most of this. I didn't watch the event. All I did was tune in for the black belt finals. That's really all I watched. That's a long innings. I think they ran it on a tighter time frame this time, thank God, but it was a long innings to sit there and watch that the whole time. But again, watching it live, watching these gi matches, some of them I would never I'd never rewatch, but in the moment, super exciting. And again, the Jansen Gomez Tainan match probably made the whole viewing experience worthwhile, and ultimately seeing the absolute final finish with a submission, especially a leg lock, like a double knee bar style thing, looked like it put a lot of pressure on Eric Muniz. But yeah, again, I didn't watch the whole event. I just watched the finals and the highlights of some of the other submissions. You guys should be honest too. Be honest with your teammates, be honest with your coach. I know that's all you watched as well.